Well, in the latest World Cup showdown, India secured a commanding 8-wicket victory over Afghanistan. Rohit Sharma took centre stage, smashing a sensational 84-ball 131 runs, propelling him to be the top of the list for the most centuries in the World Cup history. Ishan Kishan 47, Kohli 55 not out, and Shreyas Iyer 25 not out proved valuable support as the host cruised to their target in just 35 overs. Yes, with that, the net run rate also increases and improves, and now India is at number 2. Meanwhile, Rohit and Ishan's formidable 156-run partnership set the stage for India's successful chase. Adding to the excitement, Rohit Sharma hit his 554th career six during the match, overtaking West Indies' Chris Gale's record. This is remarkable feat showcased Rohit's prowess in all three formats of the game as he powered India's pursuits with the explosive batting. He also crossed 1,000 mark World Cup matches runs and reached his 50 in just 30 deliveries. Rohit's record breaking six had fans on their feet and nearly packed the stadium with 553 sixes to his name. Chris Gale standing, but that's all statistical great prowess of the great man. Now let's shift our focus to the big game today. Australia and South Africa for the first time ever meet at Lucknow at the World Cup game. The Proteas entered the Ekana Stadium at the back of the big win over Sri Lanka in Delhi, while the Australians are searching for a win. Yes, just imagine, Australia is searching for the win. It should be a cracker of a game with two teams having shared some amazing World Cup games in the past. Well, joining us are four important guests. Two of them have played cricket, or rather three of them have played international cricket, and one who's watched cricket very closely over the past decade or so. I'll quickly take the question to my colleague right now, who was very excited yesterday. Tasmeen, how would you describe the show yesterday in one line? Tasmeen?
I would definitely say morning to you all. Definitely would say it was just fast-paced and just cricket. Eat, sleep, breathe cricket.
Absolutely, it was fast-paced. Let's go on to a former West Indian cricketer, Rad Emrit, who's currently in West Indies, talking about his prowess. Can Eden Mackerham be expected to get another big score today? Your views, Eden? Emrit, can you hear us?
Definitely one to watch. Superb innings last game. He showed exactly what he's capable of. But I also think Henrik Larsson is one of the most destructive batters in the world game today. If he can get off together with the excellent batting lineup that the South Africans have, I think they're definitely in for a good shout this time around. So let's see if they can be consistent throughout the tournament.
What about Aussies bowling? Do you think they're coming under immense pressure today, considering they've lost the previous game and they haven't been performing well?
I think the Aussies, they'll definitely be under pressure, having lost the first game against India. Having said that, India is a top team. Playing at home is always going to be difficult to beat. But the Australians have some very, very good bowlers in their lineup. Right. I think if they can get it right, they'll be a handful. But having said that, they're coming up against a strong South African batting lineup. So they'll definitely be under a lot of pressure.
Well, they'll definitely be a handful. Who, according to you, is the South African cricket to watch out for today's match, in today's match for the World Cup squad?
I think the South African batter or player to look out for is Henrik Larsson. He is someone that can hit the ball miles. He has good temperament. He can bat long. He's someone that can put batters under pressure from ball one. So I think he's the guy to look out for.
Well, that's an interesting take on the South African player. Let's turn our focus to the skipper of the UAE team, a formidable skipper. She's played well for over a decade. She served the game and she still continues to do so. Chaya Mughal, welcome to the show, the captain of the UAE women's cricket team. Chaya, which is the big player battle today according to you?
Well, I think the key player battle that I'm excited and looking forward to see in this game will be between Kagiso Rabada
Yes.
and David Warner. Explosive batting, meeting express pace. What an ideal combination to watch. I think David Warner will be definitely looking to take on to Kagiso Rabada earlier in the format of the game. However, Rabada, on the other hand, comes with a great form of taking
Right.
3 impressive wickets in his first game. So yeah, definitely a great battle to watch.
Which team would be under more pressure in today's game, and why? And why is this so in today's mega battle?
Australia will be coming on the back of a sore loss in their first game. However, South Africa, on the other hand, they are riding high in confidence after registering a massive win against Sri Lanka in their first game. Both of these teams have encountered a totally different match in their first game. Australia may be slightly low on confidence after their defeat, but mind you, wounded Australians are very dangerous.
Well, that was an interesting take, and that's all. Thank you, Chaya, for joining our Indian fans and answering their questions. Now I'll shift my focus on to Dev Tyagi. Dev, how do you see the situation today, but more importantly, how do you analyze the game statistically when it comes to the Rohit Sharma show last night?
Yeah, it was Captain Courageous and Captain Spectacular. 63 ball ODI World Cup record, 100, broke the record of Sehwag earlier. Fantastic. He was looking for runs. He, in the process of scoring this fantastic century against Afghanistan, has now gone past 1,000 ODI runs in the World Cup contest, that is.
Right.
And skipper leading from the front and leading by an example.
Absolutely, leading by an example. He's known for his pull shots. Yesterday, he faced 7 deliveries, the short pitch ones. 3 went out of the boundary and 3 were on as boundaries, 4 and 6s.
Right.
And 1 single. So his strike rate against the short pitch deliveries is around 450. Isn't that spectacular enough, considering the kind of records he stumbled in the last 24 hours?
Absolutely. I think, one of the most dominant strokes we always often talk about is the cover drive of Virat, but let's not forget there's also the pull stroke of Rohit. It just pulls the cricketing world into closer attention on India.
Right.
And that was on full display with great pomp at the Arun Jaitley Stadium.
Well, Tasneem, my question to you is, how was it when we saw 260 odd 70 runs scored by Afghanistan? Did you have a sense of doubt that it'll be a very close match, or were you always certain that India is doing good when it comes to these things? Your views?
I think a couple of things to consider as well is you do have obviously Rohit Sharma that definitely missed out in the previous game, but he's managed to come back and pull himself back again this game. Whereas Virat Kohli, we know anytime he steps up to the crease, he is the run chase master. That's what he specializes in. So I think it was we definitely all felt in the stadium that it was a big run competitive total, but once they got off to a start, if you just look at the way they were scoring 50s, the first 50 came after 34 balls, the second 50 came after 36. It was every 30 balls, and even when the run rate did slow, even when they did lose Rohit at the end of the day, they were still going at 43 balls, 42 balls, 43 balls to their second hundreds. So it just goes on to show you that once the foundation's been set, then there's really the work that follows is a lot easier for your middle order and well as anybody else coming in.
Well, when you see the pace of, when you look at the batting wagon wheel of Rohit Sharma, Tasneem, he scored at 180 strike rate and 134 for spin. Do you think he was expecting the kind of a short pitch delivery and he was up for it, because he's known for hitting the short pitch and the pull shots?
Yeah, definitely. You would be wondering what was going on in the mind of obviously the Afghanistan bowlers at that time. So it's very important for you to try and figure out at the end of the day what the batsman's strengths are, what are his weaknesses, and obviously bowl more to his weaknesses and see who makes the mistake first.
Absolutely, who makes the mistake first. Tasneem, one more question. How important is today's match for South Africa and Australia? Do you think if Australia loses this, they're almost on the brink of elimination from the World Cup?
Definitely a big game. South Africa want to keep going with the momentum they already have going on for them. And, well, Australia, it's a bit tough for them out here. Of course, you got it in the back of your minds that South Africa has obviously played on this ground before. As you know, it's a new pitch, currently just recently been rolled out in like possibly the last 6 years. Australia hasn't played a game here, so they're most likely relying on the experience of Mark Stoinis, who's played here during his IPL career. So it's very, very important for Australia to make the most of it. Obviously, they're not too sure what's going on in terms of condition. So it will count. It will definitely count for them, because you lose the second one and the journey is just an uphill battle from here.
Absolutely, journey is an uphill battle. Dave, our question is, for our fans, they need to know, this is a newly built stadium. What do you make of the strip, the playing condition, and the vociferous crowd that is expected to be there? Who's going to be cheering both sides?
I would certainly say Prodea fire tonight, but it's not going to be that easy, is it, when you have the lanky Australians against you? But if you talk about specifically for the stadium, it's one of the brand new facilities in India. We've seen in the past some engaging battles when Afghanistan actually hosted the West Indies here, and they were also very compelling ODI games. And South Africa women's team, I think in the past have also played over here. So I think there is a bit of familiarity from a South African context. But I think nothing really matters at the end of the day on that moment when you play a mega clash like this. Statistics definitely serve us a case in hindsight, but then cricket is wired, it's embedded in the now. And I think when these two teams come together, as we have seen with some critical moments of the 1999 World Cup game, you just don't know what's going to happen. But definitely a mega clash today on our hands.
Absolutely, a mega clash. You mentioned briefly about statistics are embedded with the game of cricket largely. What do you think of Quinton de Kock? The guy is in absolute form of his career.
Yeah, well, this is going to be his final ODI World Cup, right? We all know that. And he needs 91 more runs to cross 1,000 runs against this massive opponent called Australia. Remember, his personal highest individual score in ODI cricket is 178. It actually came against Australia. If that helps him in any way today, I'm sure the Proteas fans would be cheering him on. But again, he's up against Stark, he's up against Stoinis. His Stoinis is rising in his craft. Zampa has not really had the best campaign opener, so to speak, in that game against India. A rather forgettable one, given Zampa's prowess against India. So he would also be very keen to bounce back. Let's see what happens.
Well, Tasmeen, my question to you is, it's very strange that South Africans had to actually, with the waiting on the tantalizingly close to the qualification, and it was like the last minute entry, and suddenly here they are scoring 400 odd runs and defeating one of the best sides. Do you think mentally they are in the zone, especially considering that they've got the best bowling attack in the Pacers department? Tasmeen?
Definitely, it's been great to see South Africa just bounce back. Obviously, they're coming from a home series loss against Australia.
Right.
So they probably might have that in the back of their minds today, that it's never the worst time to get back at someone and ruin their World Cup campaign.
Right.
But definitely a big game for them. Definitely they have the pace attack all on lock. It's all on them. They hold their experience when it comes to their seam bowling department, as well as I think they probably have one of the quickest as well. So they will be looking to set Australia back on the back foot early up in the game and set themselves up for the match, I think.
Well, Australia back on the back foot. They're very interesting fan question that we have. What do you think will be going in the minds of Australia, who've won the trophy many a times? Do you think their campaign is almost about to be written off?
You don't write off a team like Australia. I think it would be a fool's errand to say that Australia are completely on the verge of elimination or on the brink of a collapse. They have some world-class performers, right? There is David Warner and possibly even Steve Smith, who could be contesting in his last ever World Cup. I still just can't get my mind off the way Jadeja, outfoxed him and got his wicket, which perhaps has a point in there for the likes of Keshav Maharaj today. But there is so much that Smith and Warner need to do. Mitchell Marsh, after that shocking drop catch of Virat Kohli, would want to prove himself again. He's been in some incredible hitting form we've seen in this year. And I think Australia and South Africa, always two gladiatorial forces locking horns against each other, provide us with some mind-boggling moments of entertainment. I just hope today is that case.
Well, let's talk about the seamers today, the bowling attack. Tasmeen, the bowling attack between the two, who do you rate better when it comes to apple to apple?
Definitely, it's a tough call, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You've got the likes of experience in Kagiso Rabada, maybe if they play in Ngidi today. But then as well as you have to consider the fact that Mark Stoinis has been having a very consistent career this season, thus far. You can actually see his graph going up as he gradually gets better with time. So I think, to be fair, it's going to go down to application more than anything else in this game. Both teams are obviously gunning for each other. Like Dave said, it's always a big game when these two meet up, and it's quite an unpredictable one. So I think in the case of what the Seamers are most probably able to do, it's going to go down to which team applies themselves better, as well as which team is backing up their bowlers to the best of their ability.
What does your heart and mind say? Which team is going to cross the line?
Got to be a bit biased on this one and go with the Africans.
As expected. Dave, your quick word on the favourites tonight, and who's going to stand out according to you?
I was just having a conversation with a very dear friend who's a diehard fan of South Africa, and he said, just say on the show, Protea fire tonight. And I said, well, I'm going to say what my heart says, but I think I can't disagree with my friend. But again, it's Australia. You just don't undermine them.
Well, absolutely. It's a very tough call. It's a close call between two of the formidable giants of the game. One is coming with heavy history and lineage and pedigree behind them, and the other who just manages to sneak into the semi-final, the quarter-final, and create some upsets.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.